If you look at what's happening today with Russia, you see the Cold War era almost wanting to come back, a revisitation of the Cold War between Russia and China. This is what I see in it. Yes, we see the tumor on the face. Can it be fixed? Absolutely.
High-stakes meeting here between President Trump and his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping. The leaders now set to discuss trade, technology, rare earth imports, and of course, the ongoing war in Iran, according to officials. Now, there are heightened economic tensions as well in the background between the two nations. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent has reportedly been working behind the scenes here, meeting with Chinese leaders ahead of this presidential visit. More than a dozen executives from technology and financial businesses will also join President Trump traveling to China, including Tesla's Elon Musk and Apple's Tim Cook.
I see it happening. But to me, it tells me that there will be another kind of Ronald Reagan that has to be emerged, that has to be raised up, so that this will take care of the tumor within the nations of the world.
President Trump told reporters today he expects to speak with Chinese President Xi Jinping about the U.S.'s relationship with Taiwan, specifically its longstanding policy of selling weapons to the island nation.
Well, I'm going to have that discussion with President Xi. President Xi would like us not to, and I'll have that discussion. That's one of the many things I'll be talking about.
The relationship between Taiwan and China remains one of the most tense geopolitical issues in East Asia, and for years has been a source of tensions between Chinese, Taiwanese, and American leaders.
You'll see as this accumulates and there's a threat of war amongst nations, God will once again raise up a man that will deal with it.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to Code Breakers Live. Sorry about all the problems today. We do not have Lou Still. And I was trying to get myself prepped and I put myself on. So sorry, everybody. Obviously, I still can't drive the ship on my own. Boy, what a week we have had. What a powerful day today is. I've had the prayer meeting on just live all day long at home. I'm just so excited about what is happening. I know there's so many things going on that are stressing people out. There's so many arguments, so much division. The devil is just throwing a tantrum right now, but we're celebrating. Why? Because we're a prophetic ministry and we know what God has prophesied for this nation. And we know what God has said he's going to do with Donald Trump. And so thanks everybody for joining me today. And thank you for being patient because I messed up right there. I was trying to make sure my X page was ready. I pushed the wrong button at the wrong time, but I really wanted you guys to see that in the beginning today, because that actually is from what we did on Wednesday at Analysis. And it has been so incredible to see my dad's prophecies coming to pass right now. It has been mind-blowing. And I don't know, those of you who follow me on X and social media would have seen, and you guys saw this prophecy before, where he's prophesying. It's 2007, same year he prophesies about Trump. He's prophesying about Iran, and he speaks about China. And so this week, we had a look at some of what Dad had said about China on Analysis. So if you haven't seen Analysis from Wednesday, please go back and watch Analysis. Me and Christy, we had a look at when my dad was in China, and that's what you guys just saw, is Dad in China. And I always laugh at that clip because he was out of town, obviously, so he wasn't in studio, and he was in China actually going to adopt my siblings. It was 2013. Who was he adopting? Who were they adopting? 2013. Kimby. It would have been Kimby, yes, because that's the same year I had Binka. And so I had my daughter the same year that my parents adopted Kimby from China. And so they had gone to China to get her. She was in an orphanage. She was abandoned. And, that's something that, we probably don't talk about enough. I know she was, but these children, because of the one-child law in China, a lot of, especially little girls, were abandoned, or children who had special needs, because they were only allowed one child. And, it had it was very detrimental to China to have that one-child law. And they've stopped it because of how bad it actually was. Forced abortions, it was just terrible what happened. And so God sent my parents, because of the earthquake in Japan, which Dad had prophesied. When my mom saw everything that had happened in Japan and how many children had lost their parents, she really wanted to do something to help. And in the process of that, found out Japan does not allow adoptions outside of Japan. But she then became connected to people who were working with Chinese orphans, and that door opened. And my parents and this ministry and many of you donated and helped to not only get surgeries for these special needs orphans, but also find them families. And so through the course of that, my parents adopted 5 children. And, most of us natural children of theirs, because my parents had 5 of us naturally and then adopted 5. So there's 10 of us all together. But that's why he was in China. And I always laugh at that, Jackie, because of the napkin that's in front of him in the video. He has, it's like when you go to a hotel or a restaurant and they have the napkin. And I always laugh at that napkin in front of him in that clip. But, he was seeing another kind of Ronald Reagan type president who God would use to deal with what he referred to as the tumor, and the coldness between Russia and China, and how God was going to sort that out through the right leader, which ended up being Donald Trump. And so in 2007, he was prophesying Trump will be a trumpet, Trump will be a trumpet, and all this. He's going to build the walls of protection around the nation. The economy will grow rapidly. All these things that were definitely referring to Trump. And something else I wanted to tell you guys is, my dad knew that Trump was going to be the president, but he couldn't just say Trump, especially as it came closer and closer to election time, because of how Obama did with the IRS and 501c and 501c3s and all of that mess that happened during Obama. If you're a pastor, you're not allowed to endorse a candidate. I made that mistake once when Leon Benjamin was running for Congress. And I was like, vote for Leon Benjamin. And they were like, you can't say that. So I had to kind of learn about that too. But so my dad wouldn't have been saying Trump because of that reason. So he described him as best he could. I've spoken to Christy, who told me all the way in 2011, he had said something to her where he said, I know who the next president's going to be and nobody's going to believe me. But it all fits together. So in the same year, he's prophesying about Trump, 2007, he's prophesying about Iran. And so this is what I'm going to do, you guys. I want to pull up my X page, but I want to make sure I don't mess it up, because I already messed up the intro of the show today trying to do that. Please forgive me. That was all me. So let me do this. I think I have to share screen. That's how you do it. Okay, let's see what happens. Oh, it worked. You see, I can do it. I did it. Okay. So now I'm hoping it's looking okay there on the side. Let's see. Can everybody see my X page? How are you seeing this? Let me try to resize the screen and make it look nice for you. Let's see. There, that's better. Because I want to show you guys that. I'm gonna actually show you these prophecies. Yeah, that's good. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is play for you. Now I have actually put, let's see here. Let's try and play that. Trump! Okay. That's a good one. All right. I think something doesn't look right here. Make sure. Refresh. Okay. That actually is not correct. Lou is going to be back. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing that because it's actually not sharing. Lou is doing great, you guys. And actually, let me just say something to you guys. I'm actually going to say hi to you guys. Take that off for a second. There. Because that's not actually loading correctly. So let me have a look back here and see if I can get that. Sorry, guys. Just bear with me.
We need Lou.
We do need Lou. No, I wanted to say hi in the chat, though. I haven't done that yet today. See how everybody's doing. Afternoon from Arizona and Jacksonville. I'm looking at YouTube and X comments. And I will be going over to Rumble, too, because I see you guys in Rumble. Arizona, Jacksonville, New York, Oregon, Indiana, more Jacksonville. I love Jacksonville. Florida. Florida is a beautiful place. Oregon, Indiana, Texas. Hi, everybody. And you know what? I know a lot of people right now are watching the prayer meeting live in Washington, D.C. You're probably going to see this later, and that's totally fine because that's what I was doing before I came here. I had it on my TV all day. Massachusetts, Kentucky. Hi, Denise Maples. More Florida, Arkansas.
She just gave us $500.
Who did?
Miss Maya.
Miss Maya? Where's she? Miss Maya in Rumble. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. We so appreciate that. Bless you. Hi, Strumming. Oh my goodness. Yes, we do, Strumming. We need our navigator. Gatlinburg, Tennessee. Santa Fe, New Mexico. Oh my gosh. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much, Maya.
Let's ask you a valid question. Does anyone know when Trump will rededicate today?
I don't know.
Time, but they don't know when.
I don't know when either. I was also trying to see now. What I know is that Trump will be not there. So he's not going to physically be there. From what I understand and what I've heard today is that he's filmed something that will be played. And I saw that Paula White had filmed something earlier and they played her. So I think that's how it's going to go with Trump. I don't think he's actually going to go stand on the stage. I could be wrong. Okay, and then I'm getting a message about my ex. So I'm going to try to do that again because I need to share my ex with you guys today. And I mean, I don't have to, but I would like to. So I'm going to do that. And it should be right. No, it isn't. Yes, I don't think President Trump is going to actually appear. I don't know. You guys tell me in the chat.
No, but it's a whole procession. It's going to be like a whole ceremony. So we're curious when that ceremony is going to take place. And I'm honestly curious about that too. So I'd like to watch it.
Well, I don't know how much of a ceremony. Jacqueline, you should come over here to the mic.
Isn't it ceremonial?
I don't know if it's a ceremony or a prayer.
Well, yeah, like that. Whatever that prayer, they're going to do, it's going to be a thing,
It will, yes.
It is an official thing. So I assume there's going to be some kind of ceremony to it.
There should be.
Yeah, and so I wanted to watch that.
You should come over here and talk in the mic. No, I actually want you to. Come over here. Talk in the mic.
Well, I've said everything I'm going to say. I'm just going to come breathe in the mic.
Oh, Jackie. So, Jacqueline, what are they saying in the chat?
Well, right now they're just putting where they're from and asking about Bali. And
Lou. Okay, so with
yeah.
Lou had to have surgery. And I haven't actually gone into too much detail about why he had surgery because I don't know if he wanted to share it himself.
Maybe he has. Have you talked to him?
So let's ask him.
Because that is a thing, it's kind of private.
Can I share? Let's see if Lou will let me share. I'm waiting to see what he says. Okay, let's see what Lou says, you guys. And in the meantime, I'm trying to figure out. It won't log me into my X. That's the problem.
Oh, is that what
It won't log me in.
And people are always asking about the rededication ceremony, and I want to know about that.
Lou's like, you can, but you need to be logged into your X. I'm trying to. It's asking for my email address. So I'm putting that in. And I'll tell you guys why this is happening. My son, I was trying to help him with something on Grok.
Yes.
And he wanted to use Grok. And Lou's saying, yes, I can share.
Ah, there we go.
And so Lou was getting just checked up for stuff physically, and they found something up higher in his colon that was concerning, and so they recommended surgery. And so he was able to get in pretty quickly.
They did a biopsy of it.
Yes,
first.
and they did a biopsy, and
it was found to be benign, not
Yeah.
cancerous, but they didn't know if it was going to keep growing and potentially
Right.
cause a blockage.
yes,
So
and
they
so it was not
figured best
cancerous,
to just remove it.
but it was concerning to them, and so he got surgery, and he did. That was what happened on Monday.
And they'll do more in-depth kind of a biopsy of it now that they take it out.
Now they've
so
taken
they'll
it
make
out.
sure that it's not cancerous for
Right.
sure.
And I don't think it is. I think he's fine. But he got surgery on Monday,
Yes, Monday.
this past Monday, and he had a very good recovery. He is
He went home early.
yeah, he went home early. I mean, it's been painful, but he's all right. He's recovering, and he will be back with us. He's at least this week able to talk to us on the phone. He is still in bed where he belongs, but he will be back next week in the studio, and everything will be back to normal. And so I'm very excited for that. But we're also really grateful for Danny. Danny's doing a great job. And yeah, it will not let me log in. It will not. So I'm going to try to log in under our ministry account and see if I can. Nope, it's not letting me log in. So we just don't need to use X today. It's fine. I was going to do a few things in there, but we just don't need to use it because I've got plenty to talk to you guys about. Okay, so today is a marker. Why do you say that, Rick? Oh, I see you, Mark. Hi, Grand Canyon State. Russia, yes. Hi, Winifred. Hi, everybody. Vicki Harris. Right before Trump left there and got on the plane, he had all of his staff throw away all the gifts. Oh, did he? I also heard that they couldn't use their phones, and they had to all leave their phones behind, and then they all got burner phones, which is eek. That's a little bit scary, definitely. It certainly is. But yes, just to see the ceremony, how the prayer meeting and everything happening today, and then the way in which he handled China, I think is absolutely brilliant. It is absolutely brilliant how he handled China. It really, I know a lot of people are nervous about China, and we don't trust China, but we do trust Trump. And that's the thing that everybody needs to remember. We trust Trump. And so, the way I look at it, I trust his instincts. I think God has chosen him to do what he's doing. And I feel good about it. And then, of course, because of what my dad prophesied. And so there's that. Okay. So I have been able to figure out now. I've been fiddling around. I've figured out I cannot get into my X account at all. So something is wrong. And I don't know if it's because of what I did with my son yesterday. Probably is. I think I kind of messed up because I haven't been able to log into my there we go. But anyway, I'm on my YouTube page. I just need to make this page smaller. There you see, guys, I can drive the ship. You just have to be patient with me. And I see people texting me, but I haven't been able to look yet. Lou, what are you saying to me, Lou? You should just call in, Lou. No, it's okay. I've done it, Lou. I just logged into the ministry one and just went to my X page. It doesn't matter if I'm logged in there or not. I just need to be able to see it. Okay, there we go. That's better. Now we can do it. All right. So I have put this up top right now on my page just so that, I just kind of want to keep an eye on. If anything exciting happens, just let us know in the chat. And of course, you guys know I've been posting pretty flowers every time I get mad. This is actually looks like a great idea. Look at this. Look at this. I know this is way off topic, but since we're here, have a look. I posted this because, wow, what a good idea. You make a burger like that. Delish. Anyway, that has nothing to do with prophecy, but it was a good idea. This is something we were thinking about playing this in the intro today, but we wanted to show that what we had done with analysis. Again, please don't miss analysis. If you didn't watch this past week's analysis, watch it. But I want you guys to hear this. It's like 3 minutes, but just let's hear this. You found it. It's so
when I first dreamed
perfect
about you,
for today.
America.
It's as if God speaking to
about
America.
you, America. I heard sounds that I had not heard on the earth. Sounds of the trumpets, the flutes, of a people that celebrated the richness of their wounded land. When I dreamed about you, I dreamed about possessing a people who would defend children, who would defend nations. I dreamed about men who would stand in battlefields and pray. I dreamed about songs that would be written about me, about men who would fight for freedom, who would fight for races, who would fight for equality and for freedom. America, I called you to be my shining light. And now I see a candle that was once on a hill, a lamp being covered. Am I to tolerate this? I indeed am the jealous God. You shall have no other gods before me, was my commandment to Moses. For I am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity upon the third and the fourth generation. And yet the blood of my son cries out, mercy, grace. And I hear it. Yes, I will restore you, and this light shall shine in this nation again as never before, that the world may know who I am.
Gosh, that's beautiful. Wow. Lou found that. And, oh my gosh. There was so much that God was showing about America that was so encouraging about America. It's actually beautiful, especially toward the end, around August of 2015. I believe it was the very end of August, around my son's birthday, which is on the 28th. I think it was the 29th of August. He did a whole broadcast. We actually should just post that again somewhere, especially now. And, and a lot of you remember this, where he speaks about God's view of America at the founding of America, and what God's plan for America is. And you hear so many voices all the time, especially even amongst Christians, about how America's evil and we're mystery Babylon, and I don't believe that. I don't believe that, and my dad didn't. And so, let me see what you guys are saying. I want to hear what you have to say after we play. I'm going to scroll now. Woo, lots of comments. This touched me to tears, didn't it? And just, if you just forget about that it's my dad, I have to do that sometimes, and just hear it as God, it's so beautiful and encouraging for this moment, because you have so many voices just coming at you. And you know what it really is the devil is throwing a tantrum, and his target is no longer just the left and the and I shouldn't have said no longer, but it's not just the left. The target is where the threat is, and the threat is amongst the Christians. The threat is amongst the Christians, not only in America, in Iran, in China, that they are there praying, and we may not hear them because they live in countries where their voices are silenced. They don't have free speech. They are run by dictators and communism, and states that exalt themselves above God, if in a nutshell. And God is saying enough. And so God had a plan. You hear the plan, trust the plan. Here's the thing. God has a plan. And that plan cannot be stopped. And that plan is coming to fruition right now. And as so many Americans gather there in Washington, D.C. today to pray, the power of God is with them. And you may say, well, I don't like this speaker that's there, or I don't like that speaker that's there. God doesn't see things that way. And there is this preoccupation amongst Christians with, which is a righteous thing in exposing evil within the church, because it needs to be dealt with. But the enemy has come in through that avenue. And what upsets me about it is not exposing of evil. I mean, if you got a pastor and he's committed crimes with young girls, let's say, he needs to go to jail and he needs to no longer pastor. Like, that is not, I'm not about, like, the good old, what is it? The good old boys. How do they say it?
Yes,
covering for, I'm not about that. If someone's doing that, especially if something that's sick, that needs to be dealt with. The problem I have is that there's this mob mentality that keeps coming along with it. And then there's all kinds of people just sort of getting thrown around that maybe shouldn't, because everybody has sin. But this preoccupation with one another's sin that creates this mob that is now throwing stones. But it's not just about throwing stones, there's an ugliness coming out of it, a frothing at the mouth, condemning. There's no redemption, there's no forgiveness, there's no soft. And the Bible really, it tells us how we're supposed to deal with this kind of thing. But we can't allow that to corrupt us. And that's the problem that I have with all of this. I am 100% with, if someone is in sin and in a position of power, they need to be removed. If they're not repenting and dealing with it, they need to be removed. So I don't have a problem with that. And so oftentimes, if you criticize the mob for their behavior, then the reaction is, oh, well, you just want to help cover up. No, is that we have to keep ourselves. If someone does something wrong, you are not then given license to sin because they did. Oh, well, they did that to me, so I'm going to do it back to them. No, because it's really doesn't even matter what you do to them. It's not what you're doing to yourself. So we want to be dealing with issues in the body of Christ the way Christ would have us deal with them. And so we can look at how he dealt with it in the Bible. We have his words in red. And, you can go all the way back through everything Jesus taught. And there's a way in which you deal with it that keeps yourself right. And that you don't turn into this mimicking of the devil and becoming an accuser. Because what happens then is, in those kind of situations, especially over social media, where we have very limited, it's like we have access to all this information, but that doesn't always make that information true. And so then you have this mob mentality, and then everybody's like attacking when our and I read you that thing from Wes Huff last week, how it grieves the soul when you see things dealt with incorrectly, because innocent people can be hurt, and you don't want that to happen either. And so the devil will take advantage of that in more ways than one, in more ways than, because of the enemy and because of whatever that church leader's weaknesses, the enemy was able to get in and bring them down. We should not be celebrating that, and we should not be ganging up. The goal should be redemption. The goal should be, we want them to be brought back to truth, be brought back to righteousness. And we should be helping to do that. And that doesn't mean we don't need to be stern when it's necessary to be stern. I hope I'm making sense in what I'm saying. That's what is grieving me, is this.
There's a balance.
There's a balance. Thank you, Jacqueline. And the Bible's very clear on how we do that. I don't know about Trump leaving with a nothing burger, because I don't think that's what happened. But I'm going to keep scrolling here because I have more to show you here. So what I want to... Okay, here's Rubio. This is actually great. Let me play this quickly for you guys.
Second time in as many years for a national day. On this day, 2.5 centuries ago, our forefathers gathered for the second time in as many years for a national day of fasting and prayer. The resolution of the Continental Congress called on the 13 colonies to humble themselves in preparation for the coming war. The founders were not naive men. They had no guarantees of victory. They knew that what they were trying to do had never been done before in human history. But with the dark storm clouds of war looming on the horizon, they did what Christians have always done, across place and time for 2,000 years. They turned their eyes to heaven and placed their faith in the hands of God. This is who we are. It is who we have always been. America is still a young nation measured against the record of history. And from the beginning, we have carried the belief that our country represents something new in the world. But the soul of our nation has always been rooted in an ancient faith.
I love Rubio too. I'm a fan. I mean, as far as whether or not he'll be president. I know Dad prophesied the first Hispanic or Latino president, and I don't know if it's Rubio. I just know I like Rubio. There are some pretty flowers, everybody. You see that? That's me controlling my tongue. So I have the Esther prophecy ready because I want to bring up China today. So I'm going to play it again. This is a little longer, of course. We all know that. But the part I want you to pay attention to is, first of all, be reminded he's very specific that he is not speaking about Obama, because this was when Obama was president. He sees the president to come. Obviously, the president he's describing is Trump. He himself knew it was Trump, but for legal reasons and IRS and the way Obama was, he didn't want to say the name Trump at that stage. He had said it before, but he refrained from saying the name. And so he described him as best he could. That's what's going on there. And I realized the other day, because someone left a comment, and I thought, oh my goodness, they don't know. People don't, maybe I haven't explained it, maybe we haven't been clear. So just to be clear, you'll find my dad describing Trump. He's obviously not describing Obama, who was at the time president. So when he says there's a president to come, okay? So remember that part. Even though it's the Esther prophecy, it's not really so much about Esther today. What I want you to pay attention to is what he says about China. And so let's go back a little bit.
Thank you, Lord.
And watch.
Deliver us now. Deliver us. Bring deliverance, Lord. Deliver us from this enemy that has endeavored to handicap us. And Lord, the betrayal that has been so evident in the White House, bring that to an end. I see a president that shall come, and this is not to speak bad about this one. There is a president who will come. And God says he will have absolutely no fear. Absolutely no fear. Will be decisive, make decisions. And then in the middle of the restoration of America, rapidly, because of a source of energy that shall come quickly. And because of medical breakthroughs, and because of agreements between nations, specifically China, God said they shall say, we never dreamed this would happen. They said that this in Japan would never happen. But God says, listen to me. As the beginning of the restoration, as it begins, there shall be a woman that shall rise up. A woman that shall be strong in faith, virtuous, beautiful in eyes, and her eyes shall be so beautiful. Her eyes shall be round and big. I have crowned her, says the Lord, as I crowned Esther. And the people shall receive her, for she shall have the oil of gladness for the pain and the mourning that has taken place. And she shall pour out the oil. Is there some oil here, please, Marty? Is there some oil? She shall pour out the oil on this nation. And God says healing shall begin, and then it shall flow rapidly. Schools will be free from potential damage and danger, shootings and murder, drug addiction. Cartels shall be afraid of a woman. A woman anointed by God. A woman set aside. And God says they will say we hated her, but now we love her. For she shall take the oil of healing, and she shall pour it upon the scars of those left and those right, and of the new party that has come forth and emerged, where they shall say Christ will reign, and this we shall not implement at all socialism, where where they have said we will make history without God. No, you will not. No, you will not, says the Lord. For I chose this nation before it was founded, Before anybody came here, I chose this entire nation, all 50 states, every one of them, to send my gospel to the entire earth. Do you think I have changed my mind? Therefore, the healing that is necessary for this nation shall come at a time in the middle of the presidency. There shall be a woman that shall come, and God said there shall be oil that shall be poured upon the nation, and they shall suddenly feel the healing, and they shall say, it is well with my soul, it is well with our soul, for the soul of America has been corrupted, the soul of this nation has been corrupted with bitterness and anger, and God said she shall say, no more bitterness, no more anger, no more division, and shall pour the oil that shall come from the Spirit of the Lord himself. If you as a nation believe that, if you want this, lift your voice and shout one more time and say, yes!
Okay, we don't have to go. We've all seen this prophecy many times, but did you hear what he said? Okay, so whether or not you, however you feel about the Esther, I feel I know who it is. I felt that before, I've been wrong. But we're at the last time there's going to be a middle. So we had the middle of the presidency in 2016. You guys remember what I went through with that. Then you had the middle of Biden's presidency, his midterms. And I thought it might have been then, because I felt like I knew Trump was going to get a second term. So I was like, is this the middle of the middle? Problem with that was, and I didn't think about this until later, is that Dad said in the middle of the restoration of America, and Biden's presidency was not restoring anything. It was making it worse. So now we're in the restoration for sure. And in the middle of the presidency, we have the midterms. Okay. So we are right now coming upon the midterms, where you see an onslaught of attacks to try to weaken the base that got Trump elected so that he cannot finish what he started. And it is very important that Trump can finish what he started. So whoever you feel the Esther is actually not why I'm playing this prophecy right now. I'm playing it because of what he says about the restoration of America in the middle. And in the middle, what does he see? China. And he says, agreements between nations. These are the deals Trump's making between nations. Specifically, China. We just saw him go to China with all those CEOs and executives to make deals. Agreements between nations, specifically China. China over what? The opening of the Strait of Hormuz, which is very important to them, doesn't matter to us, which my dad also prophesied, that we would not have any need for the oil in the Middle East anymore, that our reliance on the Middle East would be no more. And he prophesied that a long time ago. That is fulfilled now. He kept saying, it's under your feet. You've got it here. You have plenty of it here. And we do. And so that's why Trump has so much leverage right now. And that's why when Iran's like, oh, we're going to close the Strait of Hormuz, Trump's like, fine, we're going to close the Strait of Hormuz. Hey, everybody, come buy American oil. And what did my dad prophesy? He said, while those cats and dogs are fighting, America will prosper. So that's why when I'm looking at this, and I'm seeing that, that's very important. So I'm going to go now to the next prophecy I wanted to share with you. I'm missing things, but I'll go back. Okay, so this is what we played in the beginning. Now I want to play it again.
Back, a revisitation. If you look at what's happening today with Russia, you see the Cold War era almost wanting to come back, a revisitation of the Cold War between Russia and China. This is what I see in it. Yes, we see the tumor on the face. Can it be fixed? Absolutely. Can we change the beautiful face? No, it's there for life. So it is with life as it is now. We see what's taking place. Can it be changed? Yes. How did God do it in the Cold War era at the time? He had a Ronald Reagan. And it was a Ronald Reagan that stood up and took away the tumor. Now we see that this is trying to grow again and trying to come back to where there'll be this this coldness between Russia and America, and trying to bring back an era. And I see it happening.
So that's also really important. That's what I was talking about earlier. You see the napkin? Let's rewind it. At the time, and I'm bringing this up because at the time, I made fun of him You see that napkin at the bottom. I was like, Dad, what's up with the napkin? Because they set up a scene, like maybe it just, I don't know why. I forgot what he said, but it was funny to me. And I actually joked with him about it at the time. I miss him. And also the other thing is, if you haven't seen analysis from, not this past week, but the week before, we discussed OPEC, because my dad prophesied about that as well. And so what I'm seeing happening is a culmination of fulfillment of prophecy. We keep talking about this. You see that on the bottom of your screen. If you didn't watch analysis this last week or the week before, scan that QR code and go watch those when we're done here today or when you have time. If you don't like QR codes, I know some of you don't, just go to the website or wherever you're watching right now, go to the analysis playlist and you'll be able to see. As Christy and I covered OPEC. But here it is. OPEC is collapsing. Oil prices are about to plummet because they can no longer order, limit, and control how much oil can flow. That is what, in a nutshell, Dad was seeing. And so, also, just so we can bring this up, because I've shared a lot about Nigeria. We are all praying for the Nigerian Christians who are under Islamic attack like crazy. They are slaughtering Christians, and that is not good. But Trump, the 15th was Friday, said, tonight at my direction, brave American forces and the armed forces of Nigeria flawlessly executed a meticulously planned and very complex mission to eliminate the most active terrorists in the world from the battlefield. Abu Bilal al-Minuki. Did I say it right? Probably not. Second in command of ISIS globally, though he could hide in Africa, but little did he know we had sources who kept us informed on what he was doing. He will no longer terrorize the people of Africa or help plan operations to target Americans. With his removal, ISIS's global operation is greatly diminished. Thank you to the government of Nigeria for your partnership on this operation. God bless America. That is great news. And so we keep praying for the Nigerians. You guys know we've done this, but we just keep praying for the Nigerians, especially the Nigerian Christians. And look how beautiful that is. Yeah, that was another moment where I was angry about something. And instead of commenting, I posted roses, and hopefully it blesses someone to see something pretty in their timeline. So let me see. Oh, that's so sad. Their little boy's birthday was the other day, Erica and Charlie's. And it's just that time period, that time, it's very difficult. We just keep praying for their family. You know, whether or not you believe Erica is the Esther, we all loved Charlie. That was a family. And it was their little boy's birthday. And it was beautiful what she posted. What she said was so beautiful. I'm looking actually for the other prophecy I wanted to share with you guys. And then I can come back to some of these other things. So this is it. So do you guys see how many views this post got? 372,000. And I posted it Thursday night. So for my account, so it wasn't on the ministry account, it was on just my personal X account that we use for these broadcasts. That is a very large number for me to have. I don't usually get views like this. So this really was very impactful, this prophecy, when you can see the headline. So the headline, we'll play the prophecy again in a second, but the headline is breaking. America and China both agree that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon, according to White House officials. And this person says, I am in complete and total shock. Okay, ready? All right, so here's my dad. The year is 2007. He had already prophesied that Trump would be a trumpet. But in the same year, he's seeing Trump. And what God's going to do with Trump, he also sees Iran and China. So there you read the headline. Ready? We're going to watch. And I know you're like, well, I've seen this prophecy. But no, watch again.
Because of the disruption of political powers, the disruption of a force that is held strong in Iran, in Iran, And God says, I will spite the devil. Sorry, but he just said that. I will spite the devil. And instead of blowing up and destroying, as many wish, Iran, I will raise up hundreds of thousands of Christians amongst the young people in the schools, in the colleges, in the mosques. Young men and women I will raise from within. For God says, why would I do it any other way? Rome came down because of what happened from within. And God says, do not fear Iran. Do not fear what they are trying to do. For China, oddly enough, will stand a firm ground. And God said, America shall say, we never dreamed that China would stand for a season in this crisis. For God said, there is a crisis about to happen, but quickly and swiftly shall it be placed under your feet.
Amen to that. And I know everybody is just so worried, or that's been the thing, is everybody worried about getting into another one of these 20-year wars and regime change and boots on the ground, and that's what everybody's concern has been. So isn't it interesting that when he prophesies about these things as well, God is giving us a message that alleviates that fear, and that's more than one time Dad prophesied, about it being quick. Even when he prophesied about the Fourth Reich in Europe, a short war. And so we have actually not seen complete fulfillment of that, but we're watching it because we're in the middle. And so we've seen all of the countries that Dad named and the issues with the Strait of Hormuz and NATO, and how Trump has shown their support of us was not there when they're supposed to be our ally. And how the Islamic influence in Europe, which is coupled with the anti-Semitism that we see, obviously, you can understand that Fourth Reich and the effect that's happening on the conservatives and on the left and the right in America, but especially coming up to these midterms, to weaken that. You have these things that are happening because it's God's plan. That's what I really want to say to you guys. It is God's plan. And so I'm going to have to go back here. Boom. Okay. So I saw you guys commenting about Rubio, and a lot of you like Rubio, and I really like Rubio. Oh, you guys look how cute this is. This is just so cute. Oh my goodness. I don't even know if it's real. It could be AI, but it is so adorable. Look at him, his little bath.
Hey, sometimes AI videos can be fun just because.
I like the AI videos. Here's Trump when he arrived. Look at how he was celebrated in China.
You can enjoy it for that.
Okay, this was something very interesting. I don't know what's happening. Is everything okay? We're hearing a strange sound in the ceiling here. I don't know what's happening today. But that's got nothing to do with our operation here, just something above us. Whatever it was. It sounded a little bit scary, though. I didn't know if something was about to explode. The devil does not like things that we are sharing at the House of Destiny Network, nor do some of America's enemies. But that's okay. That is okay. This is too cute, you guys. Okay, these are timeline cleanses. We get into these intense topics. Look what someone did with their cat. I think this is so cute. And I think it's so cute how the cat swats. Look how he's swatting. He's just in front of a screen holding the cat in a box. I have to do this with my cats because that is just too adorable. What a good idea. What a cute cat, too. Look, he's going to sweat. Oh, he's going to get him. Oh, my gosh. So cute. This also, you guys, made me laugh. That moment when you forget which glass you poison and look. Kim Jong-un. The moment you forget which glass you poison. Now, what I found out about this clip is that I think they're playing it backwards, but it's still pretty funny. Oh my gosh. You know, my dad prophesied about how God was going to handle that, how God was going to handle topple the short men, the little dictators. And, you know, if you look at what Trump has been doing, it is actually amazing how because you needed someone with a different kind of way of thinking than your typical politician in order to deal with something that is not normal or typical. And so that's also really important to remember. And listen, you guys, I just want to say again, Pastor Greg Locke's son, please just pray for their family. It is just absolutely heartbreaking. And you know, that's the thing that's happened in this past week or so is that we've seen these deaths. And, you know, the people who maybe don't like Locke or, you know, I don't like the way they're behaving over it. It's, you know, try to remember that not only are you a Christian, but, you know, you don't even have to be a Christian, just be a human being. And how about you just back off for a second and let this family grieve their son, because you may have whatever theological disagreement with Pastor Greg Locke or anybody else who might be grieving right now. But as a decent human being, perhaps holding your tongue for a little bit so you don't look like a monster attacking someone grieving, because you just lose your credibility when you do that. So okay, here's this very interesting. Now, you guys know how I am about Dugin. I actually commented to Dugin today, and I quoted prophecy in the comment. And the thing is, I started speaking about Dugin, and we had some weird things happen here at the ministry. And when I publicly spoke, and that had never happened before. If you guys remember, I've been talking about Dugin for years. But something I did find out was that if I follow Dugin, and this is something you guys need to remember too. I had someone criticize me for following someone the other day. Just because you follow someone doesn't mean you like them. If I want to keep my eye on what Dugin's doing, I follow his X account so I can hear what he's saying himself. But that doesn't mean I support Dugin. You know, maybe it gives sort of a false idea that you are supportive if you follow someone, but I know everybody following me doesn't always like me. I mean, gosh, how many times have I've been attacked over the Esther, especially since I started talking about Erica. People get like unnaturally angry over it, and it's just like, why are you so worried about it? You know, if you don't agree with who I think the Esther is, so what? You don't have to turn into a monster typing in all caps on my X page, you know, raging. It's okay. It's okay. You'll survive. I'll survive. I should be able to say who I think the Esther is, just like you should. And I see so many comments of people with who they think the Esther is. And I have never attacked anybody for that. Like, you know, I absolutely respect you and anybody who has an opinion about who they think that is. I'm not the final word on it. A prophecy is a prophecy. You will see for yourself if it's fulfilled. You don't need me to tell you. I'm sharing with you just because I'm sharing with you. And, I have a lot of information in regards to this that can help to form my opinion, and then I share it with you. But there's no strings attached to that because I've also been wrong and I've been very honest about it. And so, because it's not like that. It's a journey we're on together um, with all of these prophecies. And so I have a unique perspective as Kim Clement's daughter. There are things that I know that, the public, anybody couldn't know. And so that is what I can bring to the table in regards to that. But I am not prophesying it. I am with you. I just have this little bit of extra that I can add, and my perspective is unique. And so that's why. But you don't need to get angry with me and, attack me if I'm sharing with you, I think it might be this person. That's weird. And so when people do that to me, it just reinforces where I am at the moment, because the prophecy actually says, you'll say we hated her, but now we love her. And what I've noticed, and it's the same with the anti-Israel people, is it becomes unnatural. So there's nothing wrong with questioning anything. But when it becomes where people are obsessing, and then the fruit of their response is it's not godly, it's accusatory, it is reminiscent of the devil. If your behavior is that, no matter what the issue is, then check that. And I've had to do that for myself. I'll get all mad about stuff, because I do that. And then, it's like, this is not godly, the way in which I am dealing with this. And so it's going back to, the exposing corruption in the church thing. Like, we have to be godly in our handling of it, or how are we any different? It's the same with like theological disputes. If you don't believe in modern prophecy and the modern day prophet, if your interpretation is different to mine, it doesn't mean you need to go on my X account, call my dad a false prophet, and in all caps tell me I'm burning in hell. Because if you and I have a difference in interpretation of something in the Bible, never once in my life have I said, if you believe the earth is flat, then you're going to hell. But I have had people tell me that because I don't believe the earth is flat, that I am going to burn in hell because my interpretation of the Bible is different to theirs. That's a really weird thing that keeps happening, and it's not helping anything. Like, somebody, and I'm using myself as the example, but it's really not about me. We're all experiencing this. I can just talk about my experiences, so I can say from my perspective. But think of Jesus. I think we have to go back to, what would Jesus do? Would Jesus, and I you can talk about flipping the tables all you want, but that only happened in that scenario. And that was a very specific scenario, and was a focus on the governance and the effect that was happening on a larger scale. So it's fine to call someone out. It's fine for things to get tense, but you shouldn't turn into a demon and start screaming at people that they're burning in hell, because that isn't going to help them not go to hell. That just makes you feel better than them. And that's not what any of this is about, because we're all sinners. None of us deserve this salvation. It is because of the grace of God that he sent his son to die on the cross and shed his blood for our sins. So if you just have a basic general understanding of Christianity, you should understand that reaction is not of God. And I've had that reaction. I mean, I've never told anyone they're going to burn in hell, but you remember how, like, guard yourself first, because you can control yourself the most, before you start worrying about other people. If people are doing something that is having a negative effect on you directly, then that's a different situation, and you must handle that. But either way, the goal is not to scream and shout at people that they're going to hell. It's to redeem them from it. So if we have, those debates, debate is healthy to have. I think Charlie Kirk was an excellent example of how we should be dealing with this. And so take away the theological side of it, any debate. We should be able to rationally sit down and discuss with one another without it turning into madness. That is of the devil. So when you see that manifest, okay, the place this is coming from is actually not a good place, and the fruit of that is causing division, anger, and it is not solving the problem. The goal is to solve the problem, and so the way in which we behave in doing that is important. So I just wanted to address, and it's really on my heart. That's why I think God is allowing me to experience some of the things I'm experiencing so that it can be addressed. And if more Christians are doing this, okay, you guys, I'm getting distracted by this post because a bear, I hope this is real. Everything I watch now, I don't know if it's, no, it is. There would have been a community noted by now. But this bear got locked into a bathroom at a hotel in Gatlinburg, Tennessee, which isn't far from here. It's about 3 hours away up in the Smoky Mountains by Dollywood. But have a look at this. I hope you can see it. Let me make it bigger. Oh my gosh. That is just too cute. I really wish bears didn't want to eat us because I love them. They're so cute. And of course, you guys can see there's been a lot of flowers on my page today. And something else I wanted to say too is I think it's already out. I actually should check. But Charisma Media interviewed me the other day about what we put out on Prophetic Rewind, where Dad was talking about suddenly, that suddenly moment when God intervenes. And it was so good. So if you are subscribed to Charisma Media, or if you're not, just go look for that. I think it's up now. The interview I did the other day, it was so good. And I really had such a good time. That's so beautiful. This is AI, obviously, but it's just so pretty. And I really do like to share something beautiful. And I'm doing that too, not just to guard my own tongue and flesh, but also because it's good to share beautiful things as well. It can't all just be bad news. Okay, so here's an interesting thing that I saw. Glenn Beck, and I've been following this guy Ryan. I hope I'm saying his name on Ryan Morrow, and he's seen a lot of the stuff about Dugan, which is why I started to follow him. And this is he's an interesting guy. I'm glad someone
According
else
to George Soros'
also
own file.
seeing about Dugan. Now, I don't know how much about Dugan this particular clip is, but that's why I started following him. And the other person who has noticed is Glenn Beck. And so you'll see when I saw the two of them together, this was also really interesting. Now this is going back all the way to September of 2025. But it's interesting. Listen to this.
From his Open Society Foundations.
George.
So myself, my colleagues at Capital Research Center basically went through as many grants of his, as many funding streams as we could find. And here's the smoking guns that we believe that President Trump, if he's informed of it, can use to go after Soros's network of hate in various ways. We traced over $80 million going from the Open Society Foundations to at least 54 groups engaged in crime and domestic terrorism on U.S. soil, or that are pro-terrorism, endorsing things like the October 7th attacks, or are associated with foreign terrorist organizations or explicitly pro-terror groups. And this is according to his own file, so it's rock solid. And over all of that amount, over 23 million went to at least 7 groups that are doing things that meet the FBI's definition of domestic terrorism, including rioting and things like that.
Can you be specific, more specific than this?
Absolutely.
I'm happy to. So the Center for Third World Organizing, for example, is an organization that has a hub that fused together several really extreme organizations. We found $400,000 going to them, and they openly boast of the fact that they threw down during the uprisings in Minnesota, obviously referring to the rioting, and boasting of how many thousands of people they helped train. A lot of these groups have created what they'll call like a protest guide or an activism toolkit, and it sounds innocuous. Then you open it up and you'll see support for Hamas in it, but then they'll sometimes slyly say, for more information, go to these hyperlinks. And you go to the hyperlinks and there'll be guides recommending things like property destruction, violence, false IDs, how to obstruct justice, all of these things. And they know darn well what they're doing. They don't put that there by accident. Some of the more careful ones will just direct their readership to anarchist websites with all that material, knowing that they'll see it when it's there. And so, yeah, I mean, it's really stunning. And some of these groups are coalitions. So when I say 54 groups, just one of those might have 300 entities in that one. So it's actually, the real number is actually much higher.
Okay, so what do we see happening? You've got my dad prophesies about what Trump is going to do for the economy. And so you see Trump, he's going to China, he's taking the businessmen. He went to the Middle East, he's made deals. You can see that he first went there, made his deals over there in the Middle East, made nice. Then he goes over, he handles Venezuela, has that all handled, and then he deals with Iran. So understand that President Trump is not just rashly just making decisions. Oh, he got mad at Iran, so that's not what's going on. This is calculated. It is a plan, and not in a bad way, and in a completely different way than a regular politician would handle it. So you see Trump going over there, and he's being nice with Xi, who I think the nickname for Xi as Winnie the Pooh is absolutely the perfect. I don't know who came up with that, but Xi does look like Winnie the Pooh. Yeah, NGOs paid for all these violent protests. So that's the thing. Is I played that because it's again evidence of things that are being orchestrated for public view to influence. You see that happening? So we see it happening with George Soros, with the European or Western globalist bloc. And that was a huge focus that we've had so far and recognized. And that Fourth Reich is there as a part of that. The thing is, they're not the only globalists who want control of the globe. The Eastern side also wants control of the globe. And so you have China, Russia, Iran, and the Muslim countries. And Saudi Arabia is kind of in the middle of things. But you have that. And that's the other globalists that want to grip control. So you have the Western globalists, and now you have the Eastern globalists. And Trump is dealing with all of them because he's like, no globalists, not happening. And so we've already seen him pull out of the World Economic Forum, pull out of the World Health Organization. He's just proven to the world about our NATO alliances and how they handled things when we needed them, although we're paying in, we're providing all this support, and then they have been invaded by Islam and are so controlled that places like England are unrecognizable right now. I don't know if you guys saw, speaking of Glenn Beck.
Somebody was saying something happened in England today. People were in the streets. Right? The protest with, what's his name?
Well, that's what I was about to say. Tommy Robinson. Now, the reason Glenn Beck has been in England this week was to participate in that. And from what I'm hearing, I don't know if Keir Starmer has actually stepped down. I'm going to search it quickly. I heard that he had, but I don't know. I haven't verified it. So I don't want to go reporting things because I did see that as well. My husband told me. I wonder if I can search Keir Starmer. You can take my page down, Danny. I don't need it up right now. I'm just searching. He was really threatened, and he was really like trying to make them. He said, we've already blocked visas for far-right agitators who want to come here to spew their extremist views. These are not extremist views. They're completely normal views. What is extremist is Keir Starmer, who is a known communist and the worst prime minister ever in the UK. I mean, God has to do something. Okay, let's see, how old is that? 10 hours ago. Okay, you can put my X page back up, actually. Yeah, here it is. Reports. Okay, here's the. I haven't vetted this, and it looks long, but you can see that there they are marching, and there are a lot of people coming up. No, he is still prime minister. The rumor is that he may be stepping down. Reports, especially after this, that Tommy Robinson is done, and that's where Glenn Beck is right now. So reports suggest British Prime Minister Keir Starmer may be preparing to resign as a deepening internal crisis grips the Labour Party. And yes, Tusi. I saw someone in the comments say Tusi TV. Watch Tusi. He's covering it. He's there in England. He is of the Iranian diaspora, and has been the most reliable source when it comes to the war in Iran and what has been going on. You know, all our mainstream media will be reporting things, and then little Tusi's over there saying, no, this is what's actually happening. And every time he is right. Every time. And he's a Christian. So I really like Tusi. I recommend him again. I recommend him a lot to you guys. I recommend him again. Here's another one. UK PM Keir Starmer is planning his resignation, saying in private he wants it to be orderly. Good riddance. That's what I say. Good riddance. And listen, God sent my dad to England at the beginning of 2015. My dad didn't have much long left. And he covered it today. I haven't watched Tuesday. I'll watch today. Thank you, guys. I have not watched Tuesday today. But my dad, God sent my dad to England in 2015 at the beginning of the year. And Dad prophesied about Islam and the cloud of Islam. He saw the crescent moon and the star, and he saw a cloud descending upon England and upon Europe, but particularly England. But he saw the cross of Christ above it come and crush it and just disintegrate the cloud. And that's ultimately what he saw. And I just want you guys to know that we are right now working on releasing my dad's live in UK album in which he prophesied that. So he did a whole worship prayer meeting in the UK, and the worship was so beautiful that we're actually going to be releasing it in an album. I cannot give you a date yet, but we're working on it, and it's going to be Kim Clement live in the UK or live in England. We haven't even got the title for the album yet, but there is some incredible stuff in there, and we want to share it, and not just to share it with you guys, but to have it shared to the British people and in England to encourage the people, because what happens a lot of times, especially when it involves Islam or communism, is the voice of the people is silenced. And so that really is where God will begin to interview from within. He's done it in Iran. You saw my dad prophesied that, how Rome was taken down from within, how God is going to spite the devil and do the same in Iran, and how hundreds of thousands of Christians would be free in Iran, and how China, funnily enough, for a season, not forever. So he wasn't seeing China being our friend forever. He wasn't saying they're our ally. He was seeing that China for a season would stand firm. And the reason is because it is actually in China's own interest. They do need the Strait of Hormuz. They do need these deals that are being offered by the West. And so they've been cornered, which is what Trump has so wisely done. And it's taken a long time and under a lot of criticism. Well, what's he doing over there in the Middle East? I was saying that. I was like, why is he in the Middle East? I'm so glad he did that, because he was setting the stage for what was yet to come. And so he went in there, and you know what? They need to be able to make deals. They need to have this chaos in the Middle East alleviated. So that's why you see countries like Saudi Arabia and the UAE and such, even Lebanon. Like, you see these countries saying, okay, we're sick of this terrorism. Like, they may still be Muslim, and we understand it's a deception, but you have the extremists who are causing death and destruction, not only in the West or to Israel, but in the other Muslim countries. And so Trump, knowing that, wisely went in and made deals. And at the time, again, we were all like, why is he doing that? Well, now we can understand why. Because if he was going to go into Iran, he needed to have backup. He knows that the infiltration that's happened within Europe is causing trouble, and it did cause enough trouble that our European allies would not help, would not let us use bases, Starmer would not let us use Diego Garcia, which is a shared base. It's not just theirs, it's ours too. And so that not only Trump knew that was going to happen, but he was able to show the world how bad this problem is. And not just the world, but the people within those countries. So much so that right now, this past week, you've had the British people rising up and saying enough is enough, to the point where Keir Starmer may have to resign. So good news. Okay, we're starting to run out of time. So there's a couple of things I need to cover here today before we go. Have a quick look at the comments. I haven't seen them in a while. Do you think we'll be fighting them here while Europe is? I don't know. Winnie the Panda. I heard somebody call Xi Jinping Pooh Bear and Winnie the Pooh. Multiple people have.
Why Winnie the Pooh is banned in China.
Winnie the Pooh is banned in China? Is that true?
Yes. It is.
He looks like Winnie the Pooh. He does. I was looking at him yesterday. Well, I've been watching the footage of Trump with him, and he looks like Winnie the Pooh. I don't even know what it is, but it's true. Whoever noticed that is a genius. Yeah, Labour Party is like the Democrats. That's right. So that's the thing, is if you don't understand British politics, which I don't understand it very well, that's it. Yeah, Starmer and Sadiq Khan, who is the mayor of London, they tried to stop it. Stop that. But you know what? British people, now's the time. I did not see Glenn speak in England. I need to go and watch it. I think I saw a little excerpt, but I need to go watch it. Oh, someone else said it. Winnie the Pooh's banned in China. Yeah. He banned his media from showing any Winnie the Pooh comparisons in China.
Yes, absolutely did.
That is so funny. And I don't know what it is that makes sense with that. But it's true. Like, it makes him seem softer too, if you see him as Winnie the Pooh. And he's not soft. He's not soft. He's dangerous. But Trump knows exactly how to deal with him. He really does. It's beautiful. And everybody's like, why is he being so nice? He's being wise. He's on a public stage, and he has to be wise in how he speaks publicly about these people, because he needs to be able to make the deals that are most beneficial to us. And ranting and raging and calling people names is not going to accomplish that. So we rather move with wisdom. And that is what we're going to be doing. Okay, a couple of things I need to announce to you before we go today. Number one thing, do not miss Prophetic Rewind tomorrow. Those have been so powerful and so prophetically timely. Just that suddenly Prophetic Rewind broadcast that we put out a couple weeks ago had such an impact on Abby, who interviewed me at Charisma Media, that she wanted to interview me, because she has written a book of the same theme, how God moves suddenly. And so she's written this book, and then she sees my dad's broadcast, and she had me on for the interview. So go to Charisma Media and just keep an eye out. They said it was going to be up Friday, but it wasn't confirmed. So just keep an eye out for that interview and go and check it out and see that conversation, because it was really, really good. Babylon Bee article about Trump giving Xi honey. I did not see. I love the Babylon Bee. They make me laugh. Oh my goodness. Pooty Pooh is Putin, and Winnie the Pooh is Xi. That is so funny. Who said that? Amber Gressett in YouTube. Thank you so much for saying that. That is too funny, because I have been calling Putin Pooty Pooh. Pooty Pooh and his pew-pews, his nukes. And then Winnie the Pooh. How funny. That is very, very funny. Yeah, Xi will drop Putin soon. So you see my dad, how he prophesied so much about Putin and Russia, and he did prophesy about China as well, but he wasn't as concerned prophetically as he was about Russia and Putin. And once we understand Alexander Dugin and his influence and what he's doing and when his message flipped. And this is what I wanted to tell you guys about Dugin as well. Did I say this already today? Doesn't matter. I'm going to say it again if I did. Okay, so if you look, now I've been following Dugin on X, and if you go back to last year, Trump met with Putin in Alaska. Now, up until that point, if you read Dugin's timeline, everybody was like, or sorry, not everybody, Dugin was cool with Trump, right? And there was no mention of Israel. And then if you watch Dugin's timeline, Trump goes to Alaska. When was that, Jacqueline? Do you remember? Does anybody remember what was it? It was right at the beginning of Trump starting his second term. He goes and meets, it must have been the beginning of 2025. He goes and meets with Putin in Alaska, right? Remember, there was a whole thing. They were driving around in the car and all that. Whatever happened in that meeting changed things. And after that, go to Dugin's timeline. And you'll see how he flips on Trump. And then the anti-Israel stuff starts. And then look who started to mirror that message on the conservative side with our podcasters and people on the conservative side who are now causing trouble. That's weakening and dividing coming up to the midterms. Dugin has a philosophy about multipolarity, a multipolar world. That is also a great deception, but it is the whole thing is the decline of the American dollar and of America and the rising of the East and these communist countries and the idea of communism. So that's being pushed to the American people. And you see it very, very much on the left, the embracing of communism and socialism, and then Islamism. And the combining of those things is what took down Iran. That's why they had the revolution. That's why that country has been imprisoned for 47 years. We cannot allow that to happen in the United States of America. If you hear nothing else today, hear that. That plan is not good, no matter how they try to sell it to you. It is not good. And so be very careful. And, I just want to pray for everybody right now for discernment. Lord Jesus, give us the discernment that we need so that we can navigate through this. Show us what needs to be seen. Expose what needs to be exposed. And we have the faith, Lord, that you can do it. We have the faith, Lord, that you will do it, that you will show us your prophetic people, your prophetic army. We are the warriors of the new millennium, and we trust you, Lord Jesus, that you will direct our every step and that you will reveal the truth to us every step along the way. When we are supposed to know, what we are supposed to know. Our complete trust is in you, Lord, and no one else. You are number one, and we go directly to you, and we hear directly from you, and we are united in that. We are united in you, Christ Jesus. And so going forward, that is the way we are going to work as your army. We are fighting for your truth, and your will be done on earth as it is in heaven. In Jesus' name, I pray that. Amen. That's my prayer for today. Islo-communism is over. That's right, bald Ricky. Are you bald? I don't understand why we don't use the laws against communism in America. Gosh, there's a lot of laws that should be used that aren't. Did you guys hear about Irina? Her murderer, the guy that jumped up behind her in the train and murdered Irina like that? I'm hearing they're letting him go. I hope they put him in a mental facility because that person is very dangerous. But you see the manifestation of the enemy is raging. And that should encourage you because that means we're winning. That means God's winning. And that's what we want. Okay. So make sure you watch Prophetic Rewind. Whoopsie. Make sure you watch Prophetic Rewind. We will be praying live Tuesday night. Do not miss our live prayer. It is the best time. I wasn't able to make it there this past week, but I will be there this week. And whether I'm there or not, Christy and Pastor Foss, so anointed, And you know, that coming together to pray live like that is really important right now. And so if you can join us on a Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Central, right here, wherever you're watching right now, just come right back here, 7 p.m. Central time. So do your time zone math and join us. It's 1 hour. We just get together for an hour on a Tuesday night and we pray for each other. We take prayer requests live. And it's not just us praying for you, it's we're all praying for each other and agreeing and asking God to be in the midst of us, which is something we need to be doing so badly. And so we do it every Tuesday. Don't miss that. Don't miss Analysis on Wednesday. Christy and I, we covered China. If you missed the week before OPEC, go back and watch those if you haven't seen them, and don't miss this week, because it's really a good way, in a more formal way than what we're doing here, to really present and show the news and have a deep discussion. And we love those discussions. And we also extend it to our partners. So usually we do about 20 minutes or more additionally, just for our partners. So if you haven't partnered with us, I encourage you to partner with us. You can, it's not boots on the ground, Danny. It's Prophecy Vault. There you go. That's the one. Partner with us. It's not a lot. How much do you pay for it? Did you see Netflix is now $27? It's crazy. So if you don't have a problem paying for Netflix, which is doing nothing but feeding filth into your mind and the minds of your children, then you shouldn't have a problem joining us for $7 a month. It's really not a lot, and it's totally worth it. My dad's whole School of the Prophets is there. You get additional footage every Wednesday. Me and Christy do a special piece for our partners. It's not always stuff that we can share on social media and just everywhere. And so some of the more personal or more controversial issues is where we discuss that. And because of censorship, even though we got Trump now and it's a lot better than it used to be, it's still there. And so do join us if you can. And I understand if you can't. Look, there's a lot of stuff people can't afford right now, and that's not going to stay that way. And let me encourage you, it's not going to stay that way. We are at war, but it's going to be short. Quickly and swiftly will it be placed under our feet. We've just seen what happened with China, so don't worry about it, okay? Just, it's better than, it could be worse. I mean, think of what gas was under Biden, and we weren't even at war. So it's not going to last. Even Trump is saying as soon as this is over and he's dealt with this, gas is going to just go. And you know what? My dad's prophesied about new energy sources and this moment that we're going to be entering into, the season 2027. He saw it with healings and cures for diseases, with these incredible things that God is going to be doing. And we're on the cusp of it. So don't give up. Have faith. It's not going to hurt you to do that. I mean, what's the alternative? Sitting at home being afraid and complaining? That's not helping either. So have hope, have faith, believe what God has in store for us is good, that He is a good God and that He is in control. And it's so important that if we can be united in that, that strength is unbreakable. And the enemy knows it. So he's trying to weasel his way in, but we can recognize him because we are a prophetic people. Okay, so there's that. And then also, I just want to let everybody know about my husband John's paintings. And let's put that up. That is that's the one he did at the end of last year. If you haven't gotten that one yet, you can still get it. Email my husband John. If you look right below me on the screen right now, is his email address. That is the only way you can order these. He does not have a website. We do not sell it on the ministry, at the ministry. This is his most recent one. And it's called Jesus, the Lion and the Lamb. So if you want that one, email John and you can get a print of it. And I have very exciting news. He is working on a 250th anniversary Jesus painting right now. And oh my gosh, I can't show you. I can't show you anything, but I'm telling you, it is so beautiful. So please be looking. If you don't follow me on X, please follow me on X, because I will post it as soon as he is done with it. I will post it because he's doing a special painting of Jesus for the 250th anniversary. And I am so excited about it. I wish I could tell you more, but just keep looking. But either way, there's how you follow me on X. It's at the bottom of the screen. I put that email address up there one more time, Danny. JohnPetrushka@mac.com. If you would like any of the beautiful paintings you just saw, you can get a print of those paintings. You name your price, You talk to him, email him right there, and we can get that to you. And, it's something he's done very special. Really, it's like, well, why doesn't he have a website? Because he really wanted these to be given to the people who support our ministry and my dad. And the reason for that is because it's very personal. He didn't start doing these paintings just to do them and sell paintings. He did a painting to give as a gift to my sister. And when people saw it on social media, they wanted a print of it. And so we pray over these paintings. They are absolutely stunningly beautiful. And I just love how God is using his talent. And so, again, if you would like one, you can email him. And Warrior Storm, I follow you on X and I don't use caps lock. I do know sometimes people don't understand that they're screaming when they do that, but just so everybody knows, if you're writing in all caps, that means you're shouting. Now, you can emphasize a word. Like I do that sometimes where I'll put one word in all caps because I'm emphasizing a word, but the yelling at someone in all caps, it does come across as you're yelling. And so just make sure you know that. I know some of the people, especially our older viewers, and our older users of social media may not actually just realize that. Because you can accidentally just hit the caps lock and type something and maybe you don't realize it looks like you're shouting. And then some people know exactly. Warm, cool, WRM, cool. I don't know what your screen name is there, but on YouTube, I see a beautiful picture. She says, John A., I love my Jesus picture. It's in my dining room hanging, and I look at it all the time. It's so beautiful. Oh, that blesses me so much. The lion one. Yes, Sharon. That lion, he painted that lion because of what God showed me about the lion. And I obsessed about the lion and obsessed about the lion for so long. And then next thing you know, Operation Rising Lion and all of that started to align with things my dad had prophesied, and it had nothing to do with me. I didn't know that. I didn't realize what was happening. I just thought God showed me Jesus. I mean, God showed me the lion because it's Jesus. And I had this beautiful holy moment, but it was actually a prophetic moment. And when I realized it was when they had Operation Rising Lion and Midnight Hammer. And then it was like, Dad prophesied what God's going to do in the United States of America and Israel at the same time to overcome the beast of the East, which is Iran. So very exciting things happening. We're in a much better place, I think, than people realize. So don't be discouraged. Please don't be discouraged. Do not allow yourself to be afraid. Trust God because his hand is in what is happening right now. And today is a beautiful, blessed day. And so I am going to go home right now and I'm going to keep watching everyone praying in Washington, D.C. I wish I could have been there, but there's a lot of people there right now and everything's booked up and it would have been very difficult for us to do that. And so I'm just watching it with the rest of you. So I'm going to go home and do that right now and keep praying with everybody all day. And everybody, you just do it too. Let's just pray together for our nation, for one another. You know what? And whatever leader might get up there and you think, I don't like this one or I don't like that one, don't throw stones. Pray for them. Pray for them. That's how we need to handle it. We don't need to be running around accusing and saying ugly things because that hurts us. No matter what even if that person is a terrible person and done terrible things, don't allow your own self to be corrupted in that anger, but rather do what Jesus said to do and forgive them, but not just forgive them, but love them. Not easy, but you can do it. I can do it. We can do it. So I love all of you. Don't miss everything happening at the House of Destiny Network this week. I will be back next week. Lou will be back. We'll have Lou get on here. I hope I can get him on the camera, actually, and he can tell us about his experience. And I actually wouldn't mind also having Trey Smith. Maybe we can have them both. I'll see what I can do. But I love all of you. I am so blessed to have you. Join me every week. And we will see you next week. I'll see you next time.
If you look at what's happening today with Russia, you see the...
Hello, friends. I'm Donna Clement Petrushka, and I am honored to invite you to something truly extraordinary, the Kim Clement Prophecy Vault. Now you can gain unprecedented access to my father's entire digitized video archive. Every prophetic moment, every powerful teaching, every anointed worship session is now available to you in the Prophecy Vault. We've also enhanced the prophecy database, meticulously updating it with new video content and profound insights. Plus, I'm excited to share that my dad's special School of the Prophets teachings are included, offering you deep, transformative lessons on hearing God's voice and understanding his revelations. As part of your membership, you'll also gain access to my prophecy blog, where I break down and analyze my father's prophecies, connecting them to current events. This blog will provide you with exclusive insights and a deeper understanding of how God's word is unfolding right now. And we're offering something truly special: exclusive analysis sessions available only to members of the Prophecy Vault. These sessions will go beyond the surface, providing in-depth exploration of specific prophecies and their implications for today and the future. Your partnership is crucial. Not only will you gain access to these incredible resources, but you'll also help us continue the vital work of preserving, digitizing, and adding new Kim Clement material to the archives. So, I'm inviting you to step into the Kim Clement Prophecy Vault. Let's embark on this journey of revelation together, and I can't wait to see you inside.